US President Donald Trump called Russia an aggressor country and accused former President Joe Biden of not allowing Ukraine to strike Russia. On his social media, the American leader wrote that it is very difficult, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking the aggressor country. Trump used a sports analogy and compared the Ukrainian army to an excellent team with fantastic defense that is not allowed to play offense. The politician added that in such a case there is no chance of winning. Donald Trump once again mentioned Joe Biden, who did not allow Ukraine to strike but only permitted it to defend itself. He added that interesting times lie ahead. Notably, a collage also appeared on Trump's account, hinting at a historical analogy. In the first photo, Trump is pointing his finger directly at Putin during a summit in Alaska. In the second, the 37th US President Richard Nixon is pointing his finger at the first secretary of the CPSU Central Committee, Nikita Khrushchev. In 1959, the politicians held the so-called kitchen debate, in which they discussed the merits of capitalism and socialism. Meanwhile, The Guardian reported, citing an unnamed official, that the White House mocked the proposal by the foreign minister of the aggressor country, Russia's Sergei Lavrov, that Russia should become one of the guarantors of Ukraine's security.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance made a statement regarding security guarantees for Ukraine. He said on Fox News that European countries will have to cover the lion's share of the expenses.
I do not think that we should have to bear this significant burden here in this particular situation. The President certainly expects Europe to play a very important and leading role in this matter. Regardless of what form this takes, Europeans will have to shoulder the lion's share of the burden. It's their continent, it's their security. And the President has made it abundantly clear they will certainly have to step up here.
Sweden is ready to make its contribution to security guarantees for Ukraine. In particular, the country will help Ukraine with aerial surveillance and naval resources. This was stated by Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, according to the press.
We want to be involved, but it must happen in a safe and reliable way, and we need to know what we are getting into.
Estonia is also ready to send a military peacekeeping contingent to Ukraine, consisting of one company, as part of the coalition of the willing. This was stated by Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas, according to R. As previously reported by Unian, the security guarantees, similar to those in NATO, which are allegedly being discussed by Western partners, in reality will not include a direct obligation for European countries to come to Ukraine's defense. According to Bloomberg sources, military support may include providing Kyiv with rapid and sustained defense assistance, economic aid, strengthening the Ukrainian armed forces, as well as imposing new sanctions against Russia.
The Ukrainian Flamingo missile will enter mass production. According to the Associated Press, Ukraine is producing one Flamingo cruise missile per day, expanding its defense capabilities. It is noted that the company Firepoint has successfully completed the testing of its first FP5 cruise missile, which is capable of covering a distance of 3,000 kilometers and landing precisely within 14 meters of its target. It is known that the Flamingo is one of the largest missiles of its kind in the world, capable of delivering a payload of up to 1,150 kilograms. By October of this year, it is planned to increase the production of Flamingo missiles to 7 units per day. On August 20th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated during a meeting with journalists that the long-range cruise missile Flamingo has become a major success of Ukraine's missile program. He noted that this missile flies 3,000 kilometers and is the most successful one. The head of state added that by the end of December or in January-February, the missile will enter mass production.
In temporarily occupied Crimea, explosions were heard during night August 21st. A military unit in Sevastopol was hit, as reported by Crimean Wind Telegram channel. At around 3:35 a.m., there were two powerful explosions near the Yuzhny airfield on the Khersones Peninsula. After that, several fires broke out at the site. The so-called governor appointed by Moscow, Mikhail Razvozhayev, claimed that the loud noises in the city were supposedly Black Sea Fleet exercises together with emergency response services, and that such exercises are allegedly not announced in advance. However, NASA satellites recorded large fires, and this is definitely not an exercise, reports the monitoring group Crimean Wind. In Jankoy, everything is also covered in smoke after an arrival, presumably a strike in the area of the railway. Smoke from the fire is blanketing the highway. A fire was reported in Feodosia after air defense systems activated. Drones attacked the oil refinery in Russia's Novoshakhtinsk-Rostov region on August 21st. As noted by the Telegram channel Astra, about 5 explosions were heard in the city. It is reported that a fire broke out at the plant. The facility is located 174 kilometers from the line of contact. The enterprise processes 5 million tons of oil per year.
That's the situation we have this morning. And all of this is from the oil refinery.
An energy facility in the Voronezh region was damaged after a UAV attack. Several villages remain without electricity. As stated by the region's governor, Gusev,
Air defense forces on duty in one of the districts in the south of the region have already detected and destroyed more than 5 UAVs. According to preliminary information, there are no casualties. As a result of the UAV crash, an energy facility was damaged. Several settlements remain without electricity and a number of passenger trains have been delayed.
Meanwhile, it has become known that fighters from the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense destroyed an enemy boat at sea near the temporarily occupied Zelenskyy port in the Kherson region with an air-launched missile.
The head of the foreign ministry of the aggressor country Russia, Sergei Lavrov, stated that the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin is ready to meet with the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He said this during a joint press conference with the head of India's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. According to him, Putin is allegedly ready to meet with the Ukrainian president, but under a certain condition.
I have repeatedly stated and affirmed that he is indeed ready to engage in discussions, including with Mr. Zelenskyy, provided that all pertinent issues requiring thorough and careful consideration at the very highest level are diligently and comprehensively prepared.
Lavrov did not miss the opportunity to add that if it comes to signing future agreements with Ukraine, then, according to him, the question of the legitimacy of the signatories from the Ukrainian side will arise. It should be noted that the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin is deliberately delaying a personal meeting with Volodymyr Zelenskyy as much as possible. After the meeting between Putin and US President Donald Trump, the American president and the Kremlin leader had a phone conversation, during which Putin merely stated that he was ready to raise the level of negotiations with Ukraine. As journalist Michael Naki notes, US President Donald Trump is expecting a meeting between Zelenskyy and Putin. However, judging by the latest public statements from the Kremlin, Putin is not ready for it.
Now the White House is expecting his imminent meeting with Zelenskyy. However, Moscow is sending completely different signals. After the summit, Russia continued to obstruct any actions aimed at advancing the peace process, which indicates Putin's unwillingness to move at the same pace as Trump.
Naki notes that Putin's unwillingness to talk with Zelenskyy is evidenced in particular by statements from the foreign minister of the aggressor country, Sergei Lavrov, who said that any contacts involving the heads of state must be prepared with the utmost care. The Kremlin has consistently been using this particular argument for many years now to avoid meeting with Volodymyr Zelenskyy.